Been a rough last few days since I had that dream where I was instructed that I'm not allowed to leave the mind control. Ever since that day, things have been kind of strange. And I do feel like there is some kind of an attack, spiritual, physical, even with relationships. So that dream has some merit to it. That dream has some weight behind it because of the after effects that I know are related. Other than that, a couple of things, just some updates. I had noticed a Staples truck driving by me on the way to work, and Staples was a big Mandela effect, just like Skechers shoes. The Mandela effect being that the letter L on their logo had this retarded looking hook that was never there in our prior reality at any point for any reason. Well, it's funny because they just created their new logo. I looked into this that doesn't have the hook on the L. Just the way we all remembered. That's exactly how the Staples logo is now, is the way we all remember. I, in particular, used to look at Staples. There was a particular Staples in Brooklyn, New York, in Midwood, that I used to drive by when my dad would pick me up from Edward R. Murrow High School. Because next to that Staples was a gas station that my friend's neighbor, Peter Steele from the band Typo Negative, whom I've met and seen many times, he used to fill up his car at this gas station across from Staples in Midwood. And he had this very unique, weird Oldsmobile with like monster truck tires, so you could spot him a mile away. But I always like stared at Staples, right? And of course, it never had the hook. That's ridiculous. So there's some kind of reverse psychology at play here. There's some kind of mockery because this isn't the only company that has done this. Went back to their original logo, right? But this is a new logo, never before happened. And I've actually learned about a couple of new Mandela effects in addition to that. Ones that are so preposterous and ridiculous that I'm having trouble just wrapping my head around them. Very fast, swift, well made electric scooters that were invented in 1896. So, scooters that you could stand on. To be more specific, I'm going to have to share with you the video that I watched myself. I'll put it down in the description or in the comments. It's a channel called Need Input that is really good on the updates on what Mandela effects there are. And there's people in the early 1900s riding around in electric scooters that look like modern electric scooters very much. The ones you stand on, like you see in downtown and stuff. The Ford Motor Company built aircraft, not just aircraft engines. The Ford Motor Company built aircraft, and they built aircraft for World War One and Two. How many of you remember that? That would be something you would think, right? You learn all this crap about Henry Ford and the Model T repeated to you a billion times in school, right? Anywho, so I never told you guys, but my favorite movie of all time, when I was a child especially, I had an obsession with this movie. Why am I bringing it up now is because yesterday I was watching this Russian YouTube channel, very popular in Russia, called Внутри Лапенко, and he's doing a parody of Terminator 2. Um, and so I went back and to go watch the scene from the original Terminator, and it hit me. I'm like, I had this like kind of epiphany, like, how many times did I see this as a child? When I was like 5 years old, right? My dad had a VHS tape, and he would plug it in for me time and time and time again. Over the course of the year, I must have seen the movie Terminator 2 30 times, literally, because I loved it. I loved it. And now I have this epiphany like, what if this is a documentary? What if they're presenting to us Singularity A when we discuss the Decacube universe? The machines destroy the world and take over, right? It's the artificial intelligence. I mean, perhaps it's dramatized in that movie to show like these literal robotic soldiers, and it's a little bit absurd, right? But who's to say they don't even have those now? They probably do, but that's beside the point. The point is that there was this AI system that set off a nuclear holocaust, essentially, which is an interesting thought to contemplate, because that is very reminiscent of what. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. And then there's the element of retrocausality as well. So you have, John Connor and Sarah Connor going back from the future into the past to sort of prevent this Holocaust from taking place. I tend to look at it differently, in the sense that there are probably souls from both timelines, both the New Earth timeline and the destructive timeline, the Neuralink pod people insertions, whatever. They probably both return to this moment. Some of them malevolent, basically incarnating here to guarantee that outcome, and then there's people from the New Earth timeline that come back to this time to perhaps rescue specific individuals that from the bad future got sort of stuck in the machine, so to speak. It's very sci-fi, it's very out there, but there has to be some elements of truth to this. As we always say, there's a myriad of possibilities of how incarnation works, how the soul develops, how worlds and souls progress, regress, and all of the above. So I think that's a very interesting thought. So, and then you may be having people from the future New Earth also incarnate and return here to prevent the split of the singularity altogether, and to just have one singularity thrust upon to be the New Earth. And so it's confusing, it's complex, it's a branching of timelines, and every time you go into the future or the past, you are going to a different past and a different future. So that's why this is all very convoluted and very confusing, because every single moment is, in a sense, a different dimension, I guess. Um, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. The last thing I wanted to mention is that there is still a possibility that this birth, the split, the birth of the new earth, the death of the old earth, the cataclysm, the Holocaust, whatever you want to call it, if it does succeed, it's still possible that it could happen this month. And there's one thing I completely forgot about that came out on January 1st of this year. It was a Google Doodle. And so something snapped and reminded me of it. And so this Google Doodle is strangely reminiscent of something that you may be familiar with. Now, I don't have a screen recorder app on this phone. I do have it on my tablet, so I apologize for this looking really dumb, but I'm gonna have to somehow show you like this. See if that works. Anything look familiar? It came out January 1st, 2020. It's sending a very specific message here. So maybe it doesn't, but let me give me 1 second here. Let me put in another picture really quick and I'll show you this and tell me that there isn't similarities. Look familiar? Very different shapes, yes, but concept's still the same. Think about it. We got less than a month to go, and the timeline extends to April 2024. We'll see. Um, Either way, if there are incarnates here from the future rescuing people to have them go onto the new earth, and I pray to God that they succeed. I wish we could rescue everyone. Anyway, I'll share need inputs video on the scooters down below. You guys have a good night. Give me send me some good energy because it's been a pretty crappy last few days. Thanks.